finished up doing a live stream a few minutes ago, and I was going through and checking a few other instruments, and we just had a 6.2 off Hokkaido, Japan here. We're just doing an earthquake report just moments ago, and I was showing you this region here, this 6.1 that we had here, the Solomon Islands. And as this pressure goes along these fault lines here, let me zoom in just a little bit here for you. Okay, as this pressure goes along these fault lines here, it travels up through these ones, and just moments ago during my last stream, this wasn't here. We had a big open spot with no activity in between the tip of Alaska here and here. And what just happened within the last few minutes, just now, we had a 6.1 since I just did my stream just moments ago. Right, the halfway point right here off of Hokkaido, Japan. So let's go up to this one. It's a 6.2. The depth is 30.9, so it's not totally shallow, but it's relatively shallow. What's concerning is it's in the water, in this shallow zone right here. See this shallow zone? It's in this little basin right here, just off of land. So it's not too strong to produce a tsunami, but it might produce a small one in these shallows and might hit this little peninsula or possibly inland right here along this, this region from this tip in this circular area here. Shockwaves will probably go out this way and miss this beach. But here we've had, just within the last few minutes, it's still red. It just happened right after I wrapped up my last stream just moments ago. If you were here for that, that was just 10 minutes ago or so. And as I was going back through some of the instrumentation to see any new data, we had new data, and we had a 6.2 off of Hokkaido, Japan. That's right next to Fukushima. That's right in that zone where we saw the big one, okay? And thank God this isn't the big one. It's a 6.2, but that's a good-sized shaker. It'll probably do some damage here, around this area on this northern island, okay? That's a decent-sized shaker there at 6.2, so it rumbled a lot of people in that area, okay? And we still have this big gap from here to here has been filled in at the midway point. Well, if pressure is moving in this direction and it filled in this midway point, well, I bet you we'll see something up here by the apex. You zoom into this apex right here, probably right off the Kamchatka Peninsula or on it, right off of the fault line here. See how all these are happening just off of the fault line? Okay, right there. So I would imagine seeing something right at this apex point, right at the fulcrum, okay? This also connects to the Hawaiian chain if you follow this ridge all the way down to Hawaii, okay? So pressure is going to come up this way, up this fault line, and release possibly a quake in this area, also traveling down the Hawaiian island chain and possibly giving something to Hawaii along the way, dishing out earthquakes along here. We'll probably see pressure go up, around, come back down, and hit the Juan de Fuca. All right, I'm expecting to see something around this area, these little points, like I'm saying, like we had this one here, okay? We're going to see now more pressure coming in from the north, as well as directly coming across, straight across at us at the west coast, okay? So we got two kinds. We got pressure going along the weak fault line right here, the weakness in the crust. I expect to see something right around the fulcrum point, the focal point right here, and then progress along here, something maybe in Alaska around Anchorage at this little apex point right here where this bend is in the fault. See this red line? See this red line goes up to here? See this quake right there at the fulcrum point? 2.5 in Alaska. That's just a little mouse fart. It's really shallow. But this is along the line of where pressure is going to be released, okay? So I'm looking at pressure points right here. Maybe dropping one off at a midway point here between this apex point, this fulcrum point, and this fulcrum point, okay? So bam, halfway, and then bam, coming down, hit the Juan de Fuca, possibly something in the Bay Area, okay? Going down, we might see quakes along this zone right here, okay? If we get a good quake that comes along on the Juan de Fuca and puts pressure on this, driving it south, we're going to see activity possibly along the San Andreas or just off of it inland right in that zone, okay? See, whoopsie. You see how these earthquakes are set off of the fault by, what, 50 miles, 70 miles or so? Okay, that's what I expect to see going down like this, all right? To continue from this quake moving down past San Francisco right here, okay? So everybody in San Francisco in the Bay Area, head on a swivel. We got incoming pressure. If you're watching Dutch Sense and paying attention, he'll tell you that these waves come out and they propagate and they continue on. Okay, so we're seeing 6.1 right down here, 6.1 to 6.2 pressure all along the plate. All right, all along the plate boundary. It's going to follow this plate boundary, all right? I hope I'm wrong, but I would expect to see something right around here, maybe on the peninsula, just off of the fault, okay? Just like this one is, just off the fault a little bit. See that? So, expect to see a similar 6.0 to 6.2 going up this way, somewhere along this fault line, and I would expect right around this region where our fulcrum point is here, okay, dumping one off at the island or possibly this volcano right here going off, all right? You see this volcano close to the fulcrum right here? That's like our closest feature, probably this one or this one. Let's zoom in on this one too. Nah, that's more just a mountain. This is our volcanic feature right here. Okay, watch for an eruption at this site. It has 3 peaks. There's one here, and then a caldera right there. So, yeah, a quake or an eruption right around this area. Okay, and then once it hits that, it's going to start moving down the Alaskan Aleutian chain here, dumping off quakes along here. Okay, maybe 5 range along in here. We'll see. But if it doesn't dump off a quake, it'll put something right in this area at the fulcrum point, and then it'll start heading down and dumping off quakes here in the Juan de Fuca, down the San Andreas, possibly even down to the Cocos Plate, all right? So this is not good. This is more 6.1 movement all along the Pacific Plate tectonic edge, okay? Anything else to report? I wanted to see if this forecast thing popped back up with some more data real quick. We got screwed out of that one last time. Now there's a little bit more data, so we're just going to step through this step by step real quick. Just to get the whole screen in there. Sorry, this is kind of on the fly because we had that earthquake. So here's our storm coming into the west coast right now. This storm moving out of the east coast. This low is really wound up tight. It's going to drop to the south, then it's going to come kind of disappear and join in with this one now. Our icing event up here with snow on the backside, then more icing up in Michigan, Wisconsin area. Okay, this is a big loop, big tight spiral here. Really tight millibars, a lot of wind coming with this storm. Okay, that's March 31st, and then it tightens up. 979 millibars. They're really tight right in here and here on the backside. You're going to have high winds, icing, and snow north of it. All kinds of moisture and thunderstorms here south of Illinois into Missouri, Virginia, north of Tennessee. March 31st. The next frame, it goes up into Michigan and Wisconsin. There's still a tornado threat up in there, and I'm seriously there might be some damage done by this storm, even if there isn't any kind of tornadoes or whatever. So the Phoenix that was over Michigan, was it Michigan, Wisconsin, is a warning. Is a sign, a warning of this storm to come, and the one that's also behind it. So that monster moves through, just decimating the East Coast. Look at this. All this snow here, all this rain here, icing. And it just buzzsaws the East Coast like that. Lots of wind in that event. Then we have more coming into the West Coast. A lot here, Washington, Oregon this time. A little bit in Northern California. Now we have this giant low, this huge comma shape taking effect again. And this is the one that's moving up towards Michigan, Wisconsin area again. Rain all through this zone. Little slight chance of thunderstorms down there. And that's the last frame of this. It didn't do the full 16 days, but it's a little bit more than what we got screwed out of last time. So let's just play this quick little loop here. So it's basically just the two storms. This one moving in turns into this big one that just pummels the East Coast. This has been updated. It looks like it's more northerly, and then the second big storm forming at the end there. So March 31st through April 1st here, this event is going to be serious. All right, so take this seriously. It's like a big derecho, big land hurricane, okay? Just going to pummel this region. It's just going to absolutely pummel all these people. And really tight millibars really right here. This wind on the backside, watch out for it. You're gonna see straight line winds probably in excess of 100 plus miles an hour. This is going to be, like I said, a land hurricane, possibly. And I hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong. We got a, holy shit. All right. Starting right here, we have a 979 millibar right there. 31st at 5 p.m. That's a 972 millibar right there. A 975 millibar right there. Okay. That's this little yellow strip right here going to be very active in that area. You guys are going to see some unseasonable type tornadic weather, I fear, because of this tight rotation and the thunderstorms, the icing, the cold air with all the warm air mixed together right in that zone. Right there. I'm going to freeze that frame because I'm going to come over here. We're changing the thing here. Yes. Okay. here's this whole region. Purple to white alert, all right? I put the winds back in there, and you can see our upper jet, what it's doing to that part of the country. It's taking this cold air out of the Gulf of Alaska. It's mixing cold air with more cold air. This cocktail is being slammed into the west coast. It's splitting, going over the hump, and then rejoining with moist, warm air coming off of Mexico, off of Baja down here. This warm, moist air colliding with this cold wraparound. It's gonna create havoc for this half of the country. You see it? You see what it's gonna do? Back up just a tad bit. See how it's not much when it's on this side of the country, right? But as soon as we cross this line, this imaginary line right here, watch. What did you guys do on this half of the country? What did you do to God to make him do this to that half of the country? Huh. That's 975 millibar there, 975 there. No, that's 972. So 979, 972. That's the lowest reading right there at 11 p.m. Pacific, March 31st. That will be April 1st, technically, like 1, 2 in the morning on April 1st. Okay, no April Fool's joke for this whole section of the country right here. April Fool's is not going to be a joke this year. It's going to be fucking deadly serious. 975, 981, 980, 980 still. That is just a monster of a low. This is 990. 992, 995, 999. Okay, so that one doesn't even come close to the other one. Something I want to look at on this last frame, or second to last frame right here. As this low moves out and breaks up, it still has this residual moist tail to it, all right? It's still kind of connected here. It doesn't look like it. I'll back up a frame and you'll see, all right, there's the comma shaped where it's all connected, right? It starts to break away, but this residual tail is going to cause all kinds of thunderstorm activity in a region that just had its ass handed to them. Okay, that's going to be Tennessee too. That's kind of just north of Mississippi here. So Tennessee is going to be in the strike zone right there. That's April 4th, 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. April 4th. Watch out, Tennessee, Kentucky, that area. And for most of the day. That's the last frame, but I'm sure it'll continue moving this direction with more thunderstorms. So we'll back up. Right here's where it's really starting to take form and look serious. Here's our little pop-ups out in front of this dry line here. Okay, these are the ones that I'm worried about. These little pop-ups out in front of this on this dry line of the storm here. Okay, this event is no joke. All right, hopefully we will see not intensification, but the opposite. Hopefully this calms down in the next couple of days and the next couple of reports. I fear it won't, but we can always pray and be hopeful. All right, so lots going on there, and lots going on here too now. Okay, it's now yellow, but that's our latest quake right there, 6.2, just recently off of Hokkaido. So 6.0 to 6.2 movement all along the plate boundary. Okay, so hold on tight. Up here, Alaska, California, down into the coast, Cocos Plate. Okay, it's going to radiate 360 degrees in every direction, so it's also going to come down this way, put pressure this way. We'll probably see more quakes. It seems to be moving north, but it can still deliver pressure down this way because this quake is radiating energy in a circular pattern 360 degrees in every direction. Okay, so it can have pressure come back down this way, also pushing pressure eastward through, this whole system of faults. All right, so this could light up as well. See how quiet it is in this region right here? See all this fault work coming up from here, this corner right here, running the foothills of the Himalayas. Okay, so all that fault work right there needs to be filled in. See the big gaps? There's a little bit of mouse fart right there at whatever that is, at 3.5, but nothing in the 6 range along this area yet. So we're going to be seeing an uptick in quake activity as this pressure continues to move outward from this central area. Okay, and it looks like it's moving northwards. Like I said earlier, dump out the quake here, possibly here, and then working its way towards the west coast and the San Andreas. All right, so that was it for tonight for this little quick report. I just had some updated data I had to bring to you before I go back to battle. All right, so y'all sleep tight. I got it covered. Love you all. God bless y'all. And until my next video, I'll be back.